Hello, and welcome to this week's Retroactive Podcast. Before we get back to my series, A Few of My Favorite Things, Part 3, I want to talk about the Olympics for a minute. Okay, now, I'm a big fan of the Olympics, have been ever since I'm a kid. Admittedly, I've always been more of a Winter Olympics person than a Summer Olympics person. I usually only watch a little bit of the Summer Olympics, a little bit of swimming, a couple races, and I'm good. I tend to show up when you got the mountains covered in snow and the figure skaters and the bobsledders and the skiers and the luge. That's just who I am. So, my favorite Olympics was the 94 Olympics in Lillehammer. That was my favorite, even though obviously that was a very controversial year with what happened to Nancy Kerrigan. But I was there, man. My brother was only a few months away from passing away. It was a difficult time in my life, and that was the first time I was really old enough to really follow the Olympics. I was a huge fan of Katya and Sergei. I still am. I still go back and watch their performances together. It's mesmerizing. It's just one of the most beautiful things you can watch, to go see them skate. I was very heartbroken when he died shortly thereafter. I've continued to follow Katya throughout her career. One of the few athletes I've ever collected autographs of, I'm big fans. And so I've always loved the Olympics since I was a kid. I loved the world, setting aside all the divisiveness and coming together and celebrating our young people and our athletes and the extraordinary people among us and competing and the gold medals and the anthems and the opening ceremonies. It was always an incredible event that only happened once in a while, and you looked forward to it. And honestly, we could have used that right now. There is so much divisiveness in the world. We really could have used an Olympics that would have taken a break from all of that and said, yeah, you know what, we may have our differences, but we are all still part of this planet, and all our young people are going to come together, and we're going to cheer on our nations, and we're going to cheer on each other, and we're going to watch these incredible people, and we're going to, have at least a couple weeks of unity before we go back to our little bickering matches. We really could have used that right now. Now, I was aware that this Olympics was going to be controversial because they've decided to allow trans athletes to compete in women's sports. You guys know how I feel about that. If you don't, please go back and listen to my podcast, A Few of My Favorite, The Things We Live For, Part 3, about Riley Gaines. Okay, it's a simple breakdown. It doesn't go into the trans issue outside of sports. There are plenty of people out there making these arguments about other issues to do with trans, children transitioning, access to women's spaces like locker rooms and bathrooms, things like that. The changes Biden made to Title IX are disastrous for women's sports. But my podcast just covered the sports aspect. The fact that no matter what you do, men are always going to be biologically different from women, and sports is not about how you identify. Sports is about physical competition, and therefore the division should be made on a physical basis. That's basically as clear-cut as it gets. Men have much denser bones. They have a whole different tendon structure. Their size is different. Their strength is different. The testosterone is different. Their lung capacity is different. And there are differences even if someone has transitioned before puberty. A lot of people think if you just take the testosterone away, that now you've got an even playing field. That would be like letting somebody bulk up on steroids for decades, and then because they stopped the steroids yesterday, they get to compete. No, your whole body has changed now. But even before puberty, the brain structure between men and women are different. You can actually identify a male brain in scans versus a female brain 3 months before a baby's born. That's when it starts. It's incredible. There are things that women are better at, and there are things that men are better at just by their brain chemistry. And spatial reasoning is one of those things. Men can judge depth perception and speed and react with reflexes faster than women can. And that's not my opinion. That's not controversy. That's just scientific fact. I mean, they've done tests where they've used like tennis ball return machines as like a game of dodgeball against men and women. And men are able to judge that much better, get out of the way and not get hit, whereas the women get hit repeatedly. Now, there's other things that women are much better at, but that's one area where a man's brain has an advantage just from an evolutionary standpoint. And obviously that's going to impact sports. So once again, this is nothing to be controversial. This is nothing to attack any group, but sports are not about your identity. It's not the arts, okay? It's not about dance or ballet or theater that is more associated with your identity. Sports are about physical competition, and they should be divided up based on physical traits. And I did know that the Olympics was making the betrayal of all women athletes who have sacrificed their youth, all their fun years to train incessantly. I mean, the amount of training it takes to become an Olympic athlete, it means basically the exclusionary training against everything else that could be counted as childhood to get here. And now you change the playing fields. You put them on a playing field that they have no chance of having a fair competition. That's not right to do to these people. You only get 1 or 2 shots at the Olympics, usually a trial run when you're a little too young to be a serious competitor, and then 1 good shot at it at your peak. You've taken that away from these women. That is a betrayal. I already knew that part. I'm sure you did too. So I was not watching the Olympics this year, despite being a huge fan, in a show of support for the women athletes who have been given a very raw deal here just for political reasons. There is no justification for allowing trans athletes to compete in their non-biological category. They're welcome to compete, of course. They can come to the Olympics, but they need to compete in the category that they are biologically, that they are physically, because it's a physical competition. That's just the way it works. And so it was a betrayal. And in a show of support with our women athletes, I am refusing to watch the Olympics this year. But now there is a new controversy. This came out after the opening ceremonies being held in Paris. As I said, I was not watching the Olympics, so I was not watching when this aired live. I just found out about it because there are quite a few people that are upset about it. And not just religious people, not just Christians. This is something that people of other religions have said, hey, not cool, man. This is people that, non-religious people, like Elon Musk, who is openly not a religious person, said, hey, this is not tolerance. You don't single out a religion for mockery and disrespect, especially at a place like the Olympics that's supposed to be a unifying, accepting place. This is not cool. You don't do this to people. You don't mock people in front of the whole world. That's not okay to do. So this is not just Christians who are upset about this. This is a lot of people, because, hey, I mean, you don't need to be part of a group to stand up for them. You may not be Christian. That doesn't mean you should stand by while somebody is attacked for being Christian. You may not be Muslim. You should not stand by while someone is attacked simply for being a peaceful Muslim. You may not be gay, but you shouldn't just stand by if a gay person is jumped in a parking lot. I mean, you don't have to be a part of a group to say, you don't treat people that way. I mean, we all accept this. That's part of what tolerance and friendship and just decency is about. So before I play this clip for you, let me just remind everyone what an Olympic ceremony used to sound like. I'm not going to show you the Lillehammer 94 Olympics that were my favorite. I'm going to play for you a clip of the Barcelona 1992 Olympics, because they did a fantastic job at the opening ceremony. So hang on a second. All right, you see the Olympic torchbearers trading off the torch, running into the stadium. And you see an archer light a flaming arrow off of the torch brought to him, aim it up at this beautiful sculpture of a torch, and he shoots that arrow, arching it over the crowd, into the torch. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. That is exactly how an opening ceremony should be. It should be inspiring. It should be unifying. It should be the world cheering. So now let me play for you the portion of this opening ceremony. Since this is all audio, I will just describe for you. What is going on here is they have taken a scene that is sacred to Christians, the Last Supper, where Christ institutes the Eucharist, what Protestants call communion. It is considered sacred. It's one of the sacraments. It's part of how Christians going through this ceremony experience unity with Christ. It is sacred to them. Of course, there is the famous Da Vinci painting of the Last Supper, Christ gathered with his disciples. The Olympics decided to publicly mock that by recreating Da Vinci's painting, but with drag queens. So the disciples, Christ, everybody's drag queens at the Lord's Supper. And then they mock the sacrament itself by bringing in a pagan god. They choose the god of wine, which the sacrament, the wine is used to represent the blood of Christ, his sacrifice. That is highly sacred to Christians. And so they mock that by bringing in a pagan god of wine. For some reason, they chose... I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just trying to describe for you, since there is no visual on this. They bring in a very overweight man who is, as I said, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just trying to be descriptive, all flab. He is painted blue. His entire body is painted blue, like Smurf blue. And he is barely, and I do mean barely, covered up. He's entirely naked except for a couple of leaves. And he begins to sing for the crowd. So I'm going to play that for you. This song is obviously in French, so I will translate the supposed song. Where would we hide a revolver if we were naked? Where? I know where you think. But it's not a good idea. Yes. No more rich people. No more poor people. When we get naked again. Yes. Whether you're slim or fat, we're just naked. Let's live how we were born, naked. Let's live how we were born. Okay, I can't. So, they used a religion against millions of people on this earth that are religious. As I said, this was not just condemned by Christians. It's not like Christians are making a thing and nobody else saw anything wrong with it. There are Jews saying, hey, we're not Christian. We don't hold the Last Supper sacred. We don't believe in Jesus, but not cool, man. Elon Musk, who's not a religious person at all, he doesn't believe in any of this, is posting like, not cool. You don't treat people this way. You don't mock their beliefs, what they hold most dear, in front of the entire world, especially, given that liberals around the world, promote the ideas of acceptance and tolerance and kindness and openness, for them to single out groups now for open ridicule needs to be called out by everybody. But that's not what we saw. The First Lady, Mrs. Biden, praised the opening ceremonies and raved about how are we possibly going to compete with that. Like maybe by not mocking people, like making the Olympics what they're supposed to be, inclusive of everyone and unifying and not political, where you set all this garbage aside for 2 weeks every 4 years. Just 2 weeks every 4 years that we stop all this nonsense? And you can't even do that. That would be how you would compete, hun. You don't do what they did. That's how you compete with that. Kamala went on RuPaul's Drag Race. So it's just, it's totally okay to mock people for their religion now. And we all know that they might deny it, but even they know there is no way in hell they would do that to the Muslim faith. There's still the teacher in Britain who has been in hiding for years and is still in hiding from people trying to kill him because he showed a cartoon of Muhammad. And according to the Islam faith, the faith of Islam, you are not supposed to depict Muhammad. As far as I know, it's been a while since I heard this story, but as far as I remember, it wasn't that the cartoon, the depiction was insulting. It was simply that you're not supposed to depict him. Now, maybe the cartoon was insulting and I'm misremembering that, but I do know that the part that was the problem was that you are not supposed to depict him. He still is in hiding for his life. So there is no way they would have put on a skit about Muhammad in front of a world full of Muslims, nor should they have. In my last podcast, I went after Muslim extremists, but I made a distinction between normal, peace-loving Muslims who lead their religion privately and those who think that they have the right to rush over borders and put babies in ovens in the name of Islam. Those are two different groups, and they should be treated very differently. And there is no way that they would insult even the peace-loving Muslims by taking a moment that is sacred to them in their scriptures and portray it on stage in a way that is disrespectful to their identity system. Let's think about this for a minute. If you're an atheist, for example, would it be okay for a crowd to gather around you and publicly degrade everything you believe, just mock and taunt you as lesser simply because you don't believe in God? If that's not okay, then it's not okay to do that to people who do believe in God. Or let's compare this religion to religion. Native American religions. Those are mostly very small in their practice these days. But if you went onto a reservation here in the United States to watch Native Americans perform their ancestral religion, and then you went out and mocked that at the Olympics, that would not be okay. And there is no way they would do that to these people, but they are willing to do it to these people, Christians, because somehow it's not about be tolerant to everybody. It's be tolerant to this group and very intolerant to that group. It is not what they're presenting, and they need to be ashamed of themselves. Because it doesn't matter whether you're Christian or not. I am. My faith is for me. It is an important part of who I am. But I feel absolutely no need to discuss it on my podcast because it's got nothing to do with you. Why do you need to know my belief system and the way I lead my life and where I find comfort? You don't. You don't want to. I don't want to share it with you. You don't want to hear it. That's how religion is. Religion is for you. But I'm going to assume many of you are not Christians. Some of you may be from other religions. Some of you may have no religion. And it doesn't matter because we don't just stand up for our own, like, well, when we're the targets, we're going to pitch a fit. But when somebody else is targeted, we're just going to keep our mouths shut. That's not how this works. We're supposed to stand up and say, no, you don't treat people like this. You don't mock what is sacred to them. You do not try to publicly humiliate people and antagonize them, especially at a place like the Olympics that is all about peace. This is not okay. You're supposed to stand up for others. But I want to point out right here that the problem is that is not what the left believes. That is what they preach. But once you get past the slogans, you find out that is not what they teach. They very much want a world where this group is treated this way and this group is treated totally different. They do not want equality. When they talk about tolerance, they mean tolerance towards this group, while you should actually be total bigots towards this other group. So this is a post by a social influencer who is working for Kamala Harris, who is organizing people to vote for Kamala Harris. I obviously cannot begin to understand what sort of logic leads you to do that, but she has every right to campaign for whoever she wants to campaign for. That's what America is all about. So this is one of the people working for Kamala to get out votes, and she is explaining to other influencers that if they want to be a part of promoting Kamala Harris, these are the things that they should bring to the campaign, because this is what Democrats stand for right now. So let's just play that.
We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too.
True.
So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change.
Excuse me? So we now just openly live in a classist society. Do I have that right? So if I'm white, I'm in the listening class. And to quote her, God forbid that you correct someone from the higher class than you. People of color. Okay, I'm honestly going to just skip right over how insulting that is to white people, because there's going to be plenty of people jumping on that bandwagon and saying, like, yeah, I don't have to shut up because I'm white. Either what I have to say is worth listening to or it's not, and that's got nothing to do with my skin color. There'll be plenty of people out there pointing that out. I want to point out how racist that is to people of color. Oh my God, how condescending is that? That is disrespectful. You are basically saying that they are too fragile for arguments and have neither the desire to nor the capability to learn anything from anybody. They are just like born deities, like royals, and you're supposed to just go, yes, Your Highness, you're always right, Your Highness, like you would when patronizing a child. Like if a child doesn't understand the rules of a game or something, and instead of like teaching them so that they'll be able to play, she says, even if somebody's wrong, you don't correct them if they're in a better class than you. Which is bad enough to the person you're telling to sit down and shut up, but it's worse to the person that you're holding up as being in a higher class, because you're basically saying there's no possible way they're intelligent enough to make an argument and defend their position. Which is not true. Oh my gosh, I know plenty of people of color who are incredibly intelligent. What is up with that? And then you're saying that if they're wrong about something, that they're too immature to want to be corrected. That they just want to be like, yes, Your Highness, you're right, Your Highness. Like they don't want to learn anything. Like, what is up with that? I mean, if I'm actually wrong about something, I want somebody, regardless of their color or mine, to go, well, have you thought about this? And then I can go, oh, wow. No, wait a minute. I haven't thought about it from that perspective. Huh. You're right. That's a whole new aspect to it. I mean, if you're wrong, you should want to have that pointed out. That's like if your friend's got something in their teeth and you know it's there and they don't, and you just let them humiliate themselves by walking around all day that way, rather than go, hey, you got something like right there. I mean, that is the respectful thing to do. It's not let them do that and then get home and look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, I've been walking around like this all day. I mean, that's humiliating. Why would you do that to people? Why are you acting like people of color are children? These are human beings who are equal in intelligence and maturity, and to say that they are so fragile that they can't be corrected by somebody who doesn't have a cutoff level of tint to their skin, and that they must not be questioned by that lower class of paler people. Like, what the bleep is up with you? I mean, this is what the Democrats have degenerated into. What is up with this? But no. You know who's weird? J.D. Vance is weird. I mean, he's so weird, man. I mean, first of all, he's white, so, I mean, that's really unforgivable. But also, I mean, he's straight, and that's, pretty good mark against him. And, he's a veteran, so, patriotism is really not cool. But, I mean, just the more you dig into this guy, he's weird. He's so weird. I mean, I've heard that word like 150 times in the past 2 days on media. How weird? He's just weird. Now, I mean, Kamala that has that insane cackle that can talk for 10 minutes and still not have said anything, just listed a bunch of synonyms without ever making a point, and by the end you're too tired to care that she didn't actually say anything? No, she's normal. The woman who talks about falling out of a coconut tree, who didn't do her job at the Senate this week and show up to run the Senate when a foreign dignitary was there because she had to go to a sorority party. She's normal, and J.D. Vance is weird. So, just for my couple of international listeners, I'm going to play this little clip of J.D. Vance. You tell me. So, I mean, in addition to all of these, he's so weird comments, Kamala has actually had the nerve to question this veteran's loyalty to the country. So, this is J.D. Vance's response.
I saw the other day Kamala Harris question my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify. Loyalty, because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border.
Fact check true.
I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country?
Damn straight.
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
Simplify.
I went to Iraq for this country. Business for this country. And my running mate took a bullet for this country. So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America?
Yeah. Good point, man. What has Kamala done that is on the same footing as serving in our Marine Corps? All right? I've had enough of this. I am so over it. All right? I am tired of acting like going on a drag queen show is the equivalent to having bullets shot at you for your country. Okay? I am tired of all of the gaslighting that She's normal. I mean, 2 seconds ago, even the libs disliked her. And now she's wonderful. If you don't like her, you're racist. If you don't like her, it can't possibly be because she's been very, very bad at her job. It can only be that you're sexist. It can only be that you're racist. Even though we didn't like her either until 2 seconds ago when she became the nominee. And now everybody loves her. Twitter loves her. Oh my God, Twitter. Oh, TikTok. Oh my. Oh no. Seriously, come on. This whole, if you don't like her, you're the only one that doesn't like her, is not going to work. Okay, you tried that with Biden's senility of, like, if you think that the guy that can't get 2 words out is senile, then you're the only one who thinks that. We've seen this game too many times now. It ain't working anymore. Nobody's listening to you, okay? I mean, she's on tape calling for defunding of the police. You can go watch the clips. They say she never wanted to defund the police. Oh, yes, she did. She's on tape doing it. She's never been the border czar. Never. No, that's misinformation. Okay, go to congress.org and look up Congressional Resolution 253, where she's officially named the border czar. Seriously, you forget that people have access to stuff now. She has supported redistribution, i.e. communism. I'm not saying that as like, oh, she's a commie. I'm going to call her a name that I don't know what it means. No, I mean like she's actually communist. She wants to redistribute wealth and make everybody equal, regardless of if you work 1 hour or you work 24 hours, you get the same. She's on tape talking about how she wants to scrap ICE, which is the only organization left that is actually arresting violent criminals with prior records that have snuck into our country. By the way, they just arrested a Palestinian terrorist. Not just a Palestinian, but a Palestinian terrorist who got over our border. How many have they missed, you think? They just caught him. And Kamala is on the record for wanting to import Palestinians here. Oh, they just need to come to America. Yeah, I actually don't want to import the most violent population in the world. I actually think that's a bad idea. Okay, I saw what they did to Israelis, and I'd really rather not them come into my home and gang rape me and burn my baby alive in an oven. So, no. They're going to have to stay where they are until they're willing to leave the Stone Age and stop behaving like barbarians at which point I'm totally willing to consider their plight. But, until you quit beheading babies, yeah, not so much. I guess you're just going to have to live in the war zone you're creating. That's called common sense, not bigotry. And yet the media just continues. I mean, it really is ludicrous. They just continue with she's not the border czar. She never wanted to defund the police. She's so hip. She's so cool. Oh, she's the coolest. She is just the fun auntie. Give me a break. Okay? But I will be fair. Okay? I've landed a few blows on Democrats, and they've got it coming, so I'm not sorry. But I will be fair enough to acknowledge there are a few liberals out there who I disagree with on some of their positions. The very person I'm going to use for an example, there's been some things he said that, are horrible. I mean, what he said about abortion, that in his mind it is murder. He says that unborn baby is a human being, and that, yeah, you are killing it, but he's fine with that because the world's not going to miss you. You're a person who just got killed for no reason, but that's actually okay because nobody will miss you. And that's a little too close to the justifications that the Nazis used for me, because the abortion issue aside, when you start talking about people like that, who you admit are people, then it can be used on other groups of people, and then you start having real problems. So I'm not in agreement with this guy on everything, but I'll give Bill Maher his props. He actually has been calling out his own side, which is what we should all do. I don't care what side you're on, right, left, center, whatever. When your side's in the wrong, or some of the people on your side are in the wrong, you should call them out. You shouldn't cover their ugliness and try to hide it and say, well, we don't want to look bad, so we're just going to let them keep doing this ugly thing while we defend it or deny it. No, you should call it out and say, hey, that's not what we're about. We don't like that, and you're wrong. So Bill Maher at least is doing that. So my last clip of the day, here you go.
As vice president will get all of Biden's campaign money, and on the Democrats' best issue, abortion, she's a walking reminder to women that Republicans are coming for the abortion pill. She won't just protect Plan B. She is Plan B. And as a former prosecutor, Kamala was putting criminals in jail back before liberals decided that was a bad thing. Now that CVS is locking the shaving cream behind plexiglass, Democrats are coming around to her again.
Not true. She was always soft and kind.
First woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers.
Yep.
In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car.
Unless she's cackling wildly.
And like an electric car, your MAGA uncle can't explain why she fills him with homicidal rage. She just does. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished. And in fact, was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Well, at least Bill Maher is being sincere. I don't have to agree with the man on every issue in order to give him props when he's telling you the truth. So at least there are a few liberals left that are willing to do that. I'm still not going to be voting for you. Because until you clean up your party, like I said, I'm crawling over broken glass to vote against you people now. So, all right, I've had my fun. I've said my piece. Let's move on to the real podcast. So, I'm standing in solidarity with the idea that you do not mock people for who they are or for having different beliefs than you. And because of that, I'm boycotting the Olympics until they decide that they want to go back to being what they used to be, which was something inspirational. Everybody else, I'm not telling a single other person out there what to do. Everybody else got to make their own decisions. We all can make differences in this world. Send out your ripples, but you have to do what's right in your conscience.